Now, as we have said, today is Father's Day, and Rwanda has joined the rest of the globe in celebrating Father's Day. And though they are often taken for granted by those that are fortunate to have them, fathers nevertheless are an important aspect of the family. And this fact is known most by those who grew up without a father or those who grew up with a single parent, be it a father or a mother. With us now in the studio, we have such a person, Mireille Carrera. Welcome back to our studio.
Thank you. Thank you for having me back.
Yeah. Can you begin by telling us, our viewers, what it is like for you growing up in a household where you are with either a mother or a father? How was it like?
Yes, thank you. Allow me to just acknowledge you first for having me back. Last time I was here, it was Women's Day, and I remember that we talked about very impactful things, and we received amazing comments about how to overcome guilt as women. So I believe that it's going to be the same thing today as we talk about a very important topic around fatherhood, fatherlessness, and growing up with or without a father. For me, I suppose that was my story. It was my story to be born in a family where my father, in fact, grew up without his father. So to give context, my father grew up in the pre-59 era. So in 1959, he had to move and as a refugee. So his father passed away when he was about 15, 16, 17. So he himself grew up in a home abroad as a refugee without a father. So further down the line, in 1976, I was born. Abroad in the diaspora, and I too, in fact, had to go through the same process somehow, whereby either my father or mother were not together. So when I was 3 and 4, that's when they separated and they were in different countries. So it was either being with our dad, and he was very kind. I would like to honor his memory and say that he was very kind and gentle. When we had an opportunity to live with him from the moment I was born until probably six or so, then we had to be schooled abroad, and then with the mother, and then later on with our father, I think 2 years before he passed away. So it was a little bit of back and forth of being with one or the other. So as I am now 48 years old, I have no idea what it's like to live with a father and a mother together under one roof.
Can you share with us specific challenges that you faced growing up in such a situation?
Yeah, so I think we have to put things into context because I grew up in the late 70s, so I was a teenager in the mid 80s and turned 18 when I was 94. So our grandmother, my father's mother, was coming from Rwanda at that time, and she was really asked to come and help her son, my father, to raise us. And she would just, be in between Ruhango, where we come from in the south, in Rwanda, and spend a few years. So from a maternal, loving household point of view, I had that. However, the challenges occurred when I became a little bit conscious and I became adult, and I had to realize that, hang on, my father never got to see me finish school, never saw me finish university, or gave me any kind of advice on what to do as an adult, etc. So it's only later on that I realized that there was probably some hidden trauma there that I had to work through. I had to work through not only as a person, and remember what I do for a living. I'm a coach, I'm a life coach. So there are a number of things I had to work on myself as part of my self-discovery, but also now being in the seat where I am healed, I overcame those issues of fatherlessness, which I think for both girl child and the boy child are relevant but different at the same time. So to answer your question, the challenge was realized a little bit later on when I grew up. However, now putting on my coach hat, every challenge is an opportunity. Yes. So I remember that 2 years before he passed away, and I was 16 or so, from the age of 16, 17, and unfortunately he passed away just 2 months before I turned 18. So I remember in his final days, I was given the task to manage, our household, his finances, already at 16. So until he passed away, in a way, I find that it was a blessing in disguise, because I was able to be trusted with finances, trusted with managing whatever that microcosm of an organization we had as a home with our siblings. And those are the skills that allowed me to later on run my own organizations and also be trusted with other people's organizations.
Yeah. Briefly tell us, you mentioned that you are now a successful person in the business sector, a life coach. What initiatives have you undertaken to address these challenges that is faced by so many people around the world?
Yeah, so thank you. That's a really important question, because I think your audience will need to know that if you are in a situation where you grew up with a single father or a single mother, it could go both ways. It's not the end of the world. So about 2 years ago, that's where I openly started journaling on my social media about my journey. And then it really started the sort of movement that I didn't foresee, by being transparent and also sharing with my audience how, you can have a start where it's not favorable to you. So I just journaled for 7 days before last Father's Day. And we had an event, a mentoring walk in the park, Nyandungu Eco Park, where we had mature fathers who really are amazing leaders. I'm sure your audience will know PC, Darren PC. So we had him as well as others to talk about the multi-generational good fatherhood from their side. And then my side was obviously, experiencing and overcoming fatherlessness. So based on that initiative last year, many people gave us the feedback that we ought to do a little bit more than just that. So that's where we started a campaign, and the campaign is about helping people overcome that specific issue. And with that, the campaign, by the way, it's called Forsaken for a Sake, and forsaken, which means abandoned, because when you are a single parent household, that means someone somewhere has abandoned the child. So if you are that person, you should not feel forsaken, because there's a purpose, as I found a purpose for myself. So we started our campaign, and now we are in the process of starting up a mentoring program, not only for the children, but also for those who are now mature like me, who can become mentors, be it men or women, to ensure that people are healed.
Yeah, time is not on our side, but I would like to ask you one last question. What advice would you give to young people who are currently growing up in a single parent household and maybe facing similar challenges, in 1 or 2 minutes?
Yeah, in 1 or 2 minutes. I would say both to the children, educate yourself. And nowadays we are in an information age where you can easily find resources. But more importantly, to fathers, make sure that you speak, you talk. Whether you yourself went through an issue of growing up without an example, a role model, there are resources. And we invite you to be part of that mentoring program, whereby we will not only have the children, but also the both mature mentors and mentees. And we'll be more than happy to give you more details on what's available in terms of resources to overcome that. And may I just say that you're never alone. You're never alone. And what it takes is just to be open. Yes, the traditions, the cultures, and multiple generations that are at play may not make it easy for the older generations to speak up. As they say, our great-grandfathers or grandfathers might be in the silent generation, meaning that they may be silent and not talk a lot about their own issues, such as my father and his father, and now we are the 3rd generation. But the 4th generation has to be different.
Thank you very much, Mirei Carrera, founder and managing director of Cora Coaching. Thank you for taking time to speak to Rwanda Television.
It's always a pleasure.